I came to Uptown this morning, beautiful, historic Uptown, came to the Buena Park section of it to see this house, which is different from anything else in the neighborhood, really also different from anything else in the city because it's extra wide, it's got this sort of inscrutable front, this blank brick front, but we find out when we go inside almost souvenirs of historical eras in the house, very large rooms. It's really an interesting one. Let's go in and meet the agent. This is Brad Lippitz, the agent for the house. Brad, how are you?
All right, Dennis, how are you?
Great. One of the things we've got to mention right from the start is that these are some really large rooms. There's a large scale to this house.
It's incredible. The house sits on almost 3 city lots, which lends itself to a design with incredible breadth. You have an enormous living room, enormous dining room, kitchen, entry, library, and family room, all around it, centered around an atrium, a 2-story atrium.
That's nice. One of the things you don't see is those narrow city lot houses where the rooms are lined up front to back. Here they're arranged around, as you mentioned, the central courtyard. It has a real suburban feeling. But we should point out we're in a very urban neighborhood.
You are 1.5 blocks from the lake. You're close by to public and private schools, transportation, cafes, restaurants, everything you can imagine. So you get the best of both worlds while living in the city.
Well, what's interesting, you said the best of both worlds, and that leads us right to this sort of genre mixing that happened in this house. One of the things that is most noticeable is we saw out front the very contemporary facade, and in here we've got a nice crisp open room, but in the dining room there are big plaster medallions. And then there's the stained glass. There's sort of this mixing going on of different elements.
Right, this house was built in 1978 by the famed architect Marcel Friedes. The people who owned the vintage house next door wanted to incorporate a lot of vintage elements into this contemporary house when they built it. And that's why you have this kind of yin-yang excitement going on in the construction and design of the house.
That's cool. That's great. It's nice because it doesn't feel like it's, you know, it's all 1978. It could, it works today, it worked 75 years ago.
And it lends itself to any type of decor. I mean, if you want to go more traditional, you can certainly do that. If you want to go strictly contemporary, the opportunities are limitless.
You know, that reminds me that one of the things you mentioned when we were talking earlier is we could also rearrange the rooms, rearrange the room uses. For instance, the atrium now is mostly sort of a place to collect sun, but you were thinking make that the dining room.
Right, I think it would be an incredible dining room. It would be a 2-story entry. You could put this huge chandelier hanging from the top of the atrium. One idea would be to expand the kitchen into the current dining room, which is exceptional right now, and really have a proper kitchen great room, which so many families like today.
Right.
And that would lead directly to the yard without much effort at all.
You've been talking about entertaining in the past. People can get out to the yard without a lot of business. They can just go straight out to it.
Again, in contrast to standard lots, what's nice is that it's not a little deck. It's not a deck over a garage. It's not a deck on the 5th floor, which you have to take an elevator up to.
It's a yard.
It's a complete, beautiful yard, which is on the same level as the living space. Right. And it's completely enclosed by a fence. So whether you have kids or not, everybody can go outside easily. It's protected. There's no alley in the back. It's like living in the suburbs. It's completely surrounded by beautiful, significant homes in this historic district.
So we came up to the master, and like those rooms downstairs, this is actually really large. The whole suite sort of goes off this way, right?
Yes, it's enormous. I mean, it faces south. You have a huge master bedroom, and then a wing which is really devoted to master bath and storage. There's closets, there's a sauna. I think ideally somebody would want to redesign it to suit their own needs, but the opportunity is incredible to make the most luxurious master bath you can imagine.
We might create one larger space. It's sort of divided into smaller spaces.
Right now it's currently divided into smaller spaces, but it's all part of this master wing. You could create a study there, you could create a walk-in closet or a sitting room, in addition to a huge master bath. It's really fantastic. You've got these huge south-facing windows on one side, and it's also flanked by the 2-story atrium on the other side.
Yeah, bringing in sun into the center of the house, which is, given the size, we really need a way to get the sun down into the middle of the house.
Even on an overcast day, it's amazing how much light is brought through the center of this house.
And then the children's bedrooms are all over on the other side.
Yeah, what's really wonderful is that the master suite is completely private. It's divided by the atrium. If you go to the right, you have this incredible master kind of oasis. And on the left are the family bedrooms or guest bedrooms, whatever suits your needs. And they're completely private. They've overlooked the yard. And so the design of the house really is thoughtful and conducive to family living.